So we're out here at Elm Street Elementary. We're on the Hayride at Creepy World, and it's time to start hooking up all the animatronics, getting them ready for the season. We're getting close. I just went through and redid all the electric and all the lights and sound through the whole Hayride. I was gonna make a video on it, but we're just on such a time crunch that I just didn't have time to pick up the camera and video. But I know what you guys like is the animation stuff. So the first thing we're gonna be doing is installing this guy right here. He's fucking huge. He's Scarefactory. I have his controller and everything. But we're gonna start with him. Get him all figured out. We'll start by clipping all that airline. This is like the back side of his mechanism. I don't even really know how he's gonna work right here, because he's gonna swing out, I guess, follow the Hayride, but I don't know how well that's gonna work. This is all his airline. This was the show floor model at Transworld. So if you were at Transworld and you saw this big fucker in the Scarefactory booth, it's the same one. So let's get the controller out and start hooking him up. This is what his controller looks like. Found a rare Scarefactory leaf from their booth wedged up under the controller. They say it's good luck. Scarefactory leaf. I'll auction this mug off for, start the bidding at 2K for this lucky Scarefactory leaf. So I went down, pulled the line down. So I put the controller on this wall. Phew, fuck. I can already see a problem because I was inspecting all the cylinders. This was busted off, so I need to get a new fitting for that. It's 3/8. So I should have one in my box of fittings and shit, but if not, I'll put like a 1/2 inch on there and then put a 1/2 inch to 3/8 reducer on it. Other than that, everything looks like it's pretty good and ready to go. So I'm gonna put the board up, install all the line into the board, and then install his body, because there's all this stuff, all this airline that comes out of him, which is like his mouth and arms or whatever moves inside of him, plus the lights to his eyes. It just needs to be hooked into that, because whenever you're like moving this thing, the guy comes off, so it's like separate from the flying mechanism. So let's get it all hooked up. I'll get that fitting replaced, and then we'll hook him up to air and test him, and then if he's good, we'll test him on a speaker. The only problem I see with this thing is it's like kind of a weird spot where the guys installed it, because it kind of comes out in like a hooking motion. Like it kind of comes around. You can see that cylinder pushes, that far back cylinder pushes him this way. That one straightens him out, but it's fully extended. So all it's going to do when that gets air is just close him up even more that way. So what I was told is it's supposed to kind of follow the Hayride out here. I know he goes up too, because there's a lifting, like a cylinder that lifts him up on the back. But we'll just have to see. If it was me, I would have put it on the other side somewhere along the Hayride so it came out, you know, and attacked the side of the Hayride rather than coming up behind it or up the side of it. Because this, where he's facing right now, unless there's a cylinder inside that makes his head turn, which I don't think there is, that's like how he's going to be facing. Like the closest he's going to be facing the Hayride, and the Hayride comes through this way. So, you know, and he has the cool glowing eyes and stuff, so I think it'll work, but I'll just have to see once we have it set up. So I got his controller hooked up, everything looks good, besides that there's nowhere to hook the lights into, so I'm hoping they're just 12 volt and I can just wire them in, because what it looks like on here is, and there's another controller whenever I work on the next prop I'll show you, is whenever they bring these boards to the show, they got like 2 props for 1 controller, so that's why this is on a flex too. It doesn't need it, but you know, it's there, because what we got here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, you could do this on just a regular flex. So that's what they did, is they put 2 props on 1 controller, and then after the show's over, they probably just divvy it up, and they probably just forgot to leave in the connection for this you know, light. But the controller works. All I gotta do is replace that fitting, and then we'll get him some air. So sometimes when you're doing this stuff, you gotta improvise. So I didn't have any 3/8 fitting or 1/2 inch fittings that had the right NPT for that big ass cylinder. So I got a reducer, put it on a 1/2 inch, push to connect. Then that goes into a 1/2 inch to 3/8 reducer. And so now we'll be able to fix that line with this. If that makes sense. So here is the replaced fitting, rig. Here's the broken one. Pop it off. And that will go right in there. Showing it, but now that's connected in. And we can plug this guy's air in. This needs Teflon tape, and I'm hoping that I put it on tight enough to where it won't need to have that seal on it, but if not, I'll just go to my car and get some Teflon tape. But now all his air is fixed again. You can see what the old fitting looked like right there. And that's the new one. So let's hook him up to some air and see if we can get him to move. Alright, so I'm working on the Scarecrow. We'll get back to the Reaper. There were some problems with it that I will explain when we get back to him, but I'm working on the Scarecrow. I had to run things a little different because he usually has a couple crows up on his post, but the crows aren't here. I think they're darkness or something, so I just tapped off these solenoids, but I'll hook him up and then I'll show you all what he does. Still need to get a motion sensor on him because his motion sensor got ripped out bringing it over here. So most of that Scarefactory stuff needs motion sensors too, so that'll probably be, once I get everything hooked up, there'll probably be a day where I'm just wiring sensors in. But this is what he does. I'm gonna try and get in front of him. I should have done it while I had the Scaremaster out because I had to reprogram his arm. Because his arm goes to that tree right there and gets caught unless his arm goes in. You'll see. As you can see, if his arm was out while he came flying out, it would hit this tree. This tree's probably gonna get cut down, but for the time being, that's how he moves. So let's move on to another prop. I need to fix this guy next. He got really fucking beat up last year though. Either I got really beat up last year or when they were putting him away, he got beat up, but his arm is ripped off. He needs to be re-welded back at the hinge so that he can do his thing again, and then we'll do the Pennywise. Alright, so I mounted this guy's controller up just to get it out of the wetness. Cleaned off that a little bit. There were a bunch of leaves and stuff from the flood. I'm gonna plug this guy into some air and see what he's looking like. Seems like all of those other cylinders seem to be working right. I guess I'll fire him in his broken state just to see what we're looking at. Alright, so now we're looking at the Pennywise. His face was squished in a lot more than it is now. I was able to pop it out a little bit. His hair needs some help. But, take a look back here. There's not really anything wrong with him. It's just his manifold fell off the board. So I'm gonna get that back on there, and then we'll test him with air and see what we need to do. The first thing I see I need to do is connect his tentacles. There's fucking people popping shots out here. But damn. I can't get home for 5 fucking minutes. It's like 20 minutes past 5 p.m. I can't fucking go 5 minutes without shooting their guns. Alright, so we're gonna connect the tentacles, or the legs, whatever you want to call them. So let's get those hooked up. Alright, so I got his tentacles connected, even though they don't really even work. I just tested him. Got a new power supply on him, and because the other one that was on him was jacked up. So anyway, he works now. If I can get him to run again. Obviously has no sound right now. Seems to be working as he should though. Georgie's kicking. He's doing his thing. I don't know what's up with his tentacles though, because they're all connected to their airline, but they're not firing or moving at all. So I need to get a speaker on him. I'll try and look into the tentacles, but there's not really much I can do without destroying them because they put all the latex around the cylinders and stuff to make his tentacles, you know, bend inward and tilt back and forth. So that's all I can really do for him right now. So let's get a speaker on him and mount his motion sensor up and everything. Seems like his old motion sensor is working fine though. Well, it's a day later because it got stormy last night, but got the speaker on it and he's good to go. So we gotta move on to the next thing. Look at him swing. Look at that natural movement. Alright, so now we're looking at the Burning Witch. She was in the flood. I'll include a picture if I can, but she was completely like dragged over there and all messed up, so she needs to dry out. There's a bunch of leaves in her hair. Her hands need to be redone. But I got her up on her post, so she's off out of the way. And someone in the comments was recently asking me about her mech. This is pretty much how it works. It's the scissor is ran off this track. Cylinders on, it's got bearings in there, and it just rolls up and down that track. That's how the cylinder lifts that bar up, and that's what pushes the whole scissor out. But I need to go find a nut to put on her thing. But I hope this was, you know, kind of what you wanted to see. I don't know exactly what you mean. If you mean the scissor or what's inside of her or whatever. But that's how her scissor works. Well, I got a new nut on her mounting bracket, and I got her controller fixed up. So, there's your new nut. She's pretty much good. She needs a new motion sensor though. Hers was so messed up in the flood that she just continually goes, so I need to get a new one on her. But other than that, she seems to be alright. Alright, so this controller here, this is a Flex 2. I had to take it apart. I'll add the picture, but that's its board. This one was in the flood and it got a lot of mud inside of it. I mean, this whole thing was completely caked in mud. I'll try to crop in the picture that I took on my phone, but it was completely dead, not working, but brought it back to life. And now I just gotta hook up his sound. We're working on this big giant unit set, or Scarefactory 20-foot zombie. So let's see what we can do. Alright, so I got air hooked up to this big bastard. He's like the other one. He once he starts doing his full thing, he can't really keep up with the compressor, or the compressor can't keep up with him rather. So I'm letting him fill up because I do want to show you guys him moving around a little bit, because he moves a little bit better than that fucking Reaper does. He at least has a chance of kind of doing his thing. So I'll probably just actually set the camera up over here, and then you guys can just watch him go crazy, because as soon as I plug his controller in, he's gonna go off. Tell me what you think of the new zombie over there, the big zombie.
It's rad.
Tell me about this ghost over here.
It's, I don't know, it needs work.
Look.
Oh.
Oh, he almost did it. Or is he slowly rising?
He's ascending.
There he goes. How ghostly are they?
I think he needs a little bit more cloak work.
I know, he needs fabric so he
But
swoops
this
in.
also, it gets caught on that boat. So.
Why don't you add some fabric to it?
Larry, pay me. Pay me for that. Now? Talk now? No. Nick's gonna set off this Scarefactory flyer for y'all.
Alright, so we're looking at the Scarefactory witch flyer. I'm gonna attempt to get her up there by myself. I don't know if I'll be able to. She's pretty heavy, and her fucking bracket is rusted, so the shoulder bolt doesn't want to go in right. But we'll give it a try. Also, I turned this the way he was mounted on the concrete pad. I turned him a quarter turn this way, because she would have been fucking slamming into the Sleepy Hollow barn. And we can't have that, so she'll be over here and then come flying out that way. So let me try and get her mounted the fuck up there. So there's the witch up there. That's how she talks. This one pans her left and right, and then the one that drops her is on a different channel. Like it goes beyond 8 because it's on Flex Max. I'll show you guys something real quick. So if you ever buy a show floor model from Transworld of Scarefactory stuff, this is how it'll look some of the time. So there were 4 props on this one Flex. So you had the witch, the ghost fly up, I think that says pumpkin stalker, and the skelly jump up. And they were all run off that controller. So when the show's over and you come to get your stuff, they just split off the solenoids. I assume for the other stuff they just have a controller ready to tap everything else into, but this just makes everything easier for it to run consecutively, like at the show. So like, you know, everything just goes off kind of in order. They wire it a specific way, and that's why it's like that. But her, we need to reprogram her, because if she moves the way she does now, she'll slam into that building. So we'll do some stuff to her and then go from there. So this is another one of those cases where I'm just gonna wait till we have the big compressors to really fully program her and stuff, because that compressor just can't keep up with how much weight she's pushing around. She should be going up and down faster, and we need to cut that tree so that she's not flying straight into the tree. As you can see, she is a danger to herself and her surroundings whenever she doesn't, like whenever her air isn't, you know, full enough to do anything. It just makes the results different than what they would be when she has her full amount of air, so she would move differently than if we were to just program her right now with the air we have. So she's another one of the ones she's gonna have to wait.